Welcome to another episode of Cromford and High Peak series. I don't know what episode this is.
15, I think, or 16.
Take your word for it, I've lost count. We're in the Goyt Valley here, and we're just at the top. So we started the last video from Labmanlow and we finished it here. And I joked that we was at the highest, well, it wasn't a joke, but I joked that we were at the highest point and we'd been climbing all that way up those inclines. And now we're about to start heading downhill, down the sets of inclines on the other side of the railway, shall we say. So it's now basically, the line's now dropping down to the Peak Forest Canal at Wobbly Bridge, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's just have a recap to where we've reached on this series over the previous 14 episodes. We started on the Cromford Canal, or more specifically at the High Peak junction with the Midland Railway. We're travelling 33 miles to the Peak Forest Canal at Wobbly Bridge, following as closely as we can to the original route of this historic Cromford and High Peak Railway. We've just passed milestone 29 on this map from 1882, so we've not that far to go now. We followed the High Peak Trail up the southern inclines, taking in the history and industry along the way as far as Hurdlow. We then left the beaten track to trace the original 1832 alignment along the plateau, past the summit at Labmanlow, and in the last episode we burst out of the Burbage Tunnel and we're just about to plunge down the first of the northern end inclines. So, top of an incline we had an engine house, and that engine house needed water because it was powered by one of those butterlit steam engines, like what we saw. I understand it was the same design as the one that we saw at Middleton Top, and that you can see still sheep pasture.
Sheep pastures as well, yeah, that as well.
So we've got here, this is the reservoir that provided the water for the engine house, and also I understand for the steam engines as well. And the engine house is just the other side, is just at the end of the cutting that you can just see just there. So this road that we're walking down here has not always been a road. This was the track bed. Look, we're going through a cutting in all intents and purposes here, aren't we? This was the Cromford and High Peak original alignment. Now this section closed in 1892. And we're at top of the Bunsall Incline here. Well, it was actually originally 2 inclines, but we'll get into that in a short while. We'll show you the incline just as we come around the corner. But just on the left-hand side here, we've just mentioned the engine house when we've been talking about the reservoir. And this little hollow that you can see here, this was the location of said engine house. I'm wondering if there's any. It's pretty.
There's whatever that is there.
Stonework there, isn't it? I mean, it's not from the road, is it? So it's probably going to be. Look at that. That's proper dressed stone. That's probably going to be from the railway or the engine house or something. There does look to be a little bit of a worn path just through here, so it's like somebody's been investigating the same. Let's have a look and see where that takes us. Not really seeing anything. There could be all sorts underneath all this long grass. But if we show you just back round here, you'll see we'll be at the top of the Bunsall Incline. You just see us go off the end of the earth here, look. So this is the top of the incline. As always, I can guarantee that the camera will probably do its best to flatten out the perspective of this hill, but you can't see the bottom from here with the profile of the road. It's really dropping over. You know, I've been down this road in the car and on the motorbike many times before I took an interest in this and never realised that this was a railway line. But when you're walking through here, you can tell, can't you? It's a steep one, isn't it? I've made a note here, I don't know if this is true looking at it, Phil. I've made a note that when it was all one incline, that the Bunsall Incline was the longest incline on the line. Is this really
that's
longer
interesting
than...
because sheep pasture seems
Longer,
very long, and that was split in two originally as well, weren't it?
Yeah. It's so windy, I can't keep my notes straight to read them. So upper Bunsall Incline, I've got it that's combined in 1857, so not too long after the railway opened, is it that? The top incline, 660 yards, or 1 in 17 and a half. Let's watch that car just disappear off the end of the earth now. It's gone.
Carrying up past the red car, and we shoot left, I think. And,
yeah.
That way the bridge is plenty parking.
So there is the upper Bunsall Incline. I am glad to say that we've not walked down, so I don't have to walk back up. And this would be the bottom, right here, the bottom of the Bunsall Incline. And we'll get onto the lower half of the incline when we just go around the corner. But like I said at the top, these were combined in 1857, so 25 years after the railway opened, they combined these two. We did have an engine house here, and also an engine man's house. I can't remember which side was which now. I think one was either side. I'll have to double check that and put it on the screen. But just over here somewhere, we can see it on the old maps, like we saw at the top, there was a reservoir that went with the engine house. And obviously this has been abandoned a lot longer, 1857, and the reservoir isn't a body of water anymore. So somewhere down there. Yeah, so there's a hollow on this side. I call it a road. These days it is a road, but this side of the railway line. We've also got like a hollowed out area over there as well. So like I say, I'll check which side the engine house was at. So looking back to the Bunsall upper incline, and before they were combined, looking down here, this was Bunsall lower incline. And the figures for this one, 455 yards, so shorter of the two inclines, and a 1 in 7 or 14.2% gradient. 1 in 7, I might have to check that figure actually. I don't know if that's right, because is that right? What was I wish I had a memory for remembering facts and figures, but I'm sure that makes this steeper than sheep pasture and Middleton.
Wasn't that 1.85 or something?
Sheep pastures incline, 1,320 yards in length. Gradient at its max of about 1 in 9.
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head.
It has been over a year. You have to forgive us for not remembering those figures. But what we have, if I just show you, if I just be brave and mention to the middle of the road, I've got this old photograph here. Now, can you see this wall here? You see it you see it sort of dips down towards the end. We've got a photograph here of this incline. The railway's gone and it just looks like it's a derelict cutting. Can't remember the year now. It's quite widely seen everywhere on the internet, this photo. And we've got a bridge visible down at the bottom. Look, can you see that bridge? Now this is that exact spot where that photograph's taken from. And look, here's where that wall dips down there. Look, you can see that. It's quite a good definition that's in that photograph. Now, that bridge you'll see is not visible here. Now, the road veers off to the left, which kind of takes your eye line, doesn't it? The incline went straight on. We'll show you when we get down to where these cars are parked. There's a nice old plaque here, just on the side of the road. You wouldn't notice it, really, unless you was walking, because it's a bit hidden by the trees these days. But this road was built in 1967 on the Bunsall Incline of the Cromford High Peak Railway. constructed and abandoned in 1892. All right, that confirms a maximum gradient 1 in 7. Presented by members of the Stevenson Locomotive Society, 1972. And there we are. There was one of those old sleepers from the fish-bellied rails. So there's looking back up the incline, and like I say, the road here throws round to the left-hand side. It goes across the top of the dam, but the incline goes straight on here, straight down here somewhere. I'm suspecting the lay of the land's changed somewhat now.
So it's filled in. It's filled in one, isn't it?
So yeah, there the incline, as you can see, this car park, I suppose, is on the top of the infill, isn't it? From this incline. That bridge, I think, was stood on top of that bridge now. So is that the track bed on the incline going down there then?
So that's continues the steepness of it, look. It doesn't level out at all. It's just because it's been infilled with the car pockets, comes down under our feet and carries on at the same steepness, really, look.
And there we go, we've just come down the side here, and there's that bridge. There's that bridge that was in that photograph, but we're at the other side of it now, look. And then there's the incline carrying on going down there. This, as I understand, this obviously, it's still there. This bridge has always been there, but it's been quite heavily hidden with trees. Now, there's been a lot of clearance work because of some projects to remove, can't remember the disease now, some diseased trees, which you can see evidence of. So it's really opened this area up and made that bridge visible, which is good. Not for the trees, obviously, poor trees.
It's not a long bridge by any means. It's only about 10 foot across, 12 foot.
So you can easily get down to this bridge just from the side. So this bridge from the 1830s then. It's the original bridge. I mean, it's not in a great state of repair. Look at that. That's completely coming in. That arch is doing a good job there, holding that up. But you can see the infill. And as Phil's just said, it's not a long bridge. You can see the other end of it. Look. This tree here is growing out the side here. That can't be good for said bridge. And it is still a footpath across the top of there. So we're stood on the incline now at the bridge in front, and we're walking up towards it. And I wish you could get a perspective, hopefully you can, of how steep this incline was. So we've got a path coming back onto the bottom part of the incline now, but we've just been stood there just underneath the bridge, look, and you can see the severity of the, well, I hope you can, the severity of the incline. It's not a long one, is it? What did I say? It was 550 metres. And that's looking up back towards that bridge. Don't let the path off to the right take your eye line. It's just straight through there, just to the right of this pole. So there's the bottom of the incline, and we're just trying to figure out the exact alignment here. I think this pretty much rely on this tarmac'd path as the guide for the track bed for the upcoming section. But the reservoir here on the left, that's Fernilee Reservoir. Now, that reservoir was not there when this railway was in operation. Can't remember the date now off the top of my head when that reservoir was constructed, but the railway line had closed. It's closed in 1892, of course. So it's quite unusual. They've not enveloped the track bed, have they? They've obviously not seen the need to come up any higher than the level of this. So it's kind of kind of conveniently just runs alongside the reservoir. Fernilee Reservoir, does it say? Right, so it was constructed in 1938, so quite a time then after it was shut.
There's a contractor's local there.
So the track bed for the Cromford High Peak was turned into a contractor's railway then, you say?
That's what it looks like to me, because it had long gone, hadn't it? The reservoir wasn't built as soon as the railway shut. There was a gap between them.
Yeah, well, 1938, so
but look at
1892.
This. That's not a light gauge one. It's fairly sort of medium-sized one, that is. So 38. So from 1892 when this shut to 1938 when it looks like it got picked as a contractor's loco was being put on here, the line wouldn't have been in situ.
You wouldn't have thought so, would you?
Well, the trackbed was.
I mean, there's those photographs earlier than 1938 that we've seen that don't have any rails down. The construction of the Fernilee Reservoir started in 1932, and this 3-foot contractors railway utilised the abandoned Cromford and High Peak trackbed that still runs alongside the shore of the reservoir today. Now, if you follow some of the other adventures on my channel, you'll know that the words 3-foot constructors railway and reservoir construction will really pique my interest, so possibly there's room for a whole other video on this in the future. There's some excellent shots from Britain from above during the reservoir's construction. We can see the contractors' railway in operation and trackbed hugging the left side of the valley here. And this shot looking the other way towards Whaley Bridge, the Cromford and High Peak Railway heading towards the top right of the photo. And you can see here, we're stood roughly on the alignment here of the trackbed, and you see the path on that side, and this is just towards now towards the end of the reservoir. And if we look here, we've got a retaining wall here. It looks like this wall's been blasted away. It's hard to, you walk along here, it's hard to picture it without the reservoir on your left hand side. You're kind of just walking along a track at the side of the reservoir basically, but it's hard to imagine that this line would have probably been on a shelf in the valley at this point, wouldn't it?
So this really is running the line where the telegraph poles are in line going down through there. It's not hard. You
can see there's a gap in the trees, can't you, look?
Yep.
Yeah. So here's I call it Fernilee Dam. It's the dam at the end of Fernilee Reservoir, look. So coming from that direction, the railway hugs the side of the reservoir all the way down here. That is high, isn't it? Look at the craftsmanship in that.
It'd be a lovely spectacle if it wasn't for this undergrowth, you know, all that.
Yeah. Well, that's not bad. We've had a good uninterrupted session on the alignment of the old railway all the way back to the tunnel, haven't we? So that's been all right. So it's there. That's the trackbed. Yeah, like you say, lining up with the telegraph poles. You're not walking on that now, are you? I'm assuming, well, probably a good guess that this road wasn't here then, or it was just a minor a convenience road. Wow, look at the size of that bird just flew across there.
What was it? I'll tell you something, the trackbed's fairly clear up there, look. Yeah. It just keeps going, you know, it's on private land.
You can see the cutting. Yeah, you can see the cutting all the way through the trees there, can't you? Yeah.
I'm surprised. Thought it'd be overgrown.
Fantastic. And that's about as far as we can walk up the trackbed until we get to Shallcross Incline, isn't it?
Pretty much next port of call, I would guess, yeah.
Get back on there. So, right, that's it. This video all about the inclines, and then just this little bit at the end to the end of the Fernilee Reservoir. So thanks again, Phil. Another interesting day.
Walk again.
Yeah, and nice weather again.
Yeah. For a change, more like.
Yeah, it's not bad. You can't grumble at that for October, can you? So, as always, just like to thank anyone who supports the channel, anyone who buys me a coffee, channel members, super thanks, etc. Just middle of the road, yeah. So, cheers for watching. Take care. We'll see you soon.
See you.